who stood there amazed. "Come now," he said, "and let us try my steel against your body." And clear to the hilt, down through the monster's shoulder blade he plunged his deadly sword, and, turning it again, deep in the centaur's entrails, made new wounds within his wound. Then, quite beside themselves, the double-natured monsters rushed against that single-handed youth with huge uproar, and thrust and hurled their weapons all at him. Their blunted weapons fell, and he remained unharmed and without even a mark. That strange sight left them speechless. "Oh, what shame!" at length cried Monachus. "Our mighty host, a nation of us, are defeated and defied by one who hardly is a man. Although indeed he is a man, and we have proved by our weak actions we are certainly what he was. Shame on us! Oh, what if we have twofold strength? Of what avail are huge and mighty limbs, doubly united in the strongest, hugest bodies in this world? And how can I believe that we were born of any goddess? It is surely vain to claim descent of great Ixion, who, high-souled, sought Juno for his mighty mate. Imagine it, while we are conquered by an enemy who is but half a man. Wake up, and let us heap tree-trunks and stones and mountains on him. Crush his stubborn life, let forests smother him to death. Their weight will be as deadly as 100 wounds. While he was raving, by some chance he found a tree thrown down there by the boisterous wind. Example to the rest, he threw that tree against the powerful foe, and in short time Othrys was bare of trees, and Pelion had no shade. Buried under that mountainous forest heap, Caeneus heaved up against the weight of oaks upon his brawny shoulders piled. But as the load increased above his face and head, he could not draw breath. Gasping for life, he strove to lift his head into the air, and sometimes he convulsed the towering mass, as if great Ida, now before our eyes, should tremble with some heaving of the earth. What happened to him could not well be known. Some thought his body was borne down by weight into the vast expanse of Tartarus. The son of Ampycus did not agree, for from the middle of the pile we saw a bird with golden wings mount high in air. Before or since I never saw the like. When Mopsus was aware of that bird's flight, it circled round the camp on rustling wings. With eyes and mind he followed it, and shouted aloud, "Hail, glory of the Lapithian race, their greatest hero, now a bird unique!" And we believed the verdict of the seer. Our grief increased resentment, and we bore it with disgust that one was overwhelmed by such a multitude. Then in revenge we plied our swords till half our foes were dead, and only flight and darkness saved the rest. Nestor had hardly told this marvellous tale of bitter strife betwixt the Lapithae and those half-human, vanquished centaurs, when Tlepolemus, incensed because no word of praise was given to Hercules, replied in this way: "Old sir, it is very strange you have neglected to say one good word in praise of Hercules. My father told me often that he overcame in battle those cloud-born centaurs." Nestor, very loath, replied, "Why force me to recall old wrongs, to uncover sorrow buried by the years, that made me hate your father? It is true his deeds were wonderful beyond belief, Heaven knows, and fill the earth with well-earned praise, which I should rather wish might be denied. Deiphobus, the wise Polydamas, and even great Hector get no praise from me. Your father, I recall, once overthrew Messeni's walls, and with no cause destroyed Elis and Pylos, and with fire and sword ruined my own loved home. I cannot name all whom he killed, but there were 12 of us, the sons of Neleus, and all warrior youths, and all those 12 but me alone he killed. 10 of them met the common fate of war, but sadder was the death of Periclamenus. Neptune, the founder of my family, had granted him a power to assume whatever shape he chose, and when he wished to lay that shape aside. When he in vain had been transformed to many other shapes, he turned into the form of that bird which is wont to carry in his crooked talons the forked lightnings, favourite bird of Jove. With wings and crooked bill and sharp-hooked talons he assailed and tore the face of Hercules. But when he soared away on eagle wings, up to the clouds, and hovered, poised in air, that hero aimed his 2 unerring bow and hit him where the new wing joined his side. The wound was not large, but his sinews cut, failed to uphold him, and denied his wings their strength and motion. He fell down to earth, his weakened pinions could not catch the air, and the sharp arrow, which had lightly pierced the wing, was driven upward through the side into the left part of my brother's neck. O noble leader of the Rhodian fleet, why should I sing the praise of Hercules? But for my brothers I take no revenge except withholding praise of his great deeds. With you my friendship will remain secure." When Nestor, with his honeyed tongue, had told these tales of old, they all took wine again, and they arose and gave the night to sleep. But Neptune, who commands the ocean waves, lamented with a father's grief his son, whose person he had changed into a bird, the swan of Phaethon. And towards Achilles, grim victor in the fight, his lasting hate made him pursue resentment far beyond the ordinary manner of the gods. After 9 years of war, he spoke these words, addressing long-haired Sminthean Apollo: "O nephew, the most dear to me of all my brother's sons, with me you built in vain the walls of Troy. You must be lost in grief when you look on those towers so soon to fall. Or do you not lament the multitude slain in defence of them? To name but one, does not the ghost of Hector, dragged around his Pergamer, appear to you? And yet the fierce Achilles, who is blood-stained more than slaughtering war, lives on this earth for the destruction of our toil. Let him once get into my power, and I will make him feel the action of my triple spear. But since I may not meet him face to face, do you with sudden arrow give him death." The Delian god, Apollo, gave assent, both for his own hate and his uncle's rage. Veiled in a cloud, he found the Trojan host, and there, while bloody strife went on, he saw the hero Paris shoot at intervals his arrows at the nameless host of Greeks. Revealing his divinity, he said, "Why spend your arrows on the common men if you would serve your people? Take good aim at great Achilles, and at last avenge your hapless brothers whom he gave to death." He pointed out Achilles, laying low the Trojan warriors with his mighty spear. On him he turned the Trojans' willing bow, and guided with his hand the fatal shaft. It was the first joy that old Priam knew since Hector's death. So then Achilles, you, who overcame the mighty, were subdued by a coward who seduced a Grecian wife. Ah, if you could not die by manly hands, your choice had been the axe. Now that great terror of the Trojan race, the glory and defence of the Pelasgians, Achilles, first in war, lay on the pyre. The god of fire first armed, then burned his limbs. And now he is but ashes, and of him, so great, renowned, and mighty, but a pitiful handful of small dust insufficient for a little urn. But all his glory lives enough to fill the world, a great reward. And in that glory is his real life. In a true sense, he will never know the void of Tartarus, but soon his very shield, that men might know to whom it had belonged, brings war, and arms are taken for his arms. Neither Diomed nor Ajax call the less ventured to claim the hero's mighty shield. Menelaus and other warlike chiefs, even Agamemnon, all withdrew their claims. Only the greater Ajax and Ulysses had such assurance that they dared contest for that great prize. Then Agamemnon chose to avoid the odium of preferring one. He bade the Argolic chieftains take their seats within the camp, and left to all of them the hearing and decision of the cause. End of Book 12, Part 2.